And just like that, the top half of our DIY vertical garden is ready to be harvested. So the footprint we've got here is only 2.4 square feet. And there we go. Yes, sir. That is a Yukon Gold.
Guten yardening, everybody. Well, today's the day where we come out and we harvest the top half, our potatoes, out of this DIY vertical garden made out of mostly hay inside and a little bit of potting mix as well. And I'm really excited to show you what we're getting out of here. Now, this is the first time we're growing in this style vertically, so I would consider this to definitely be an experiment. And the potatoes that we planted in here, the seed potatoes that we planted in here, were ones that we had left over, so they were older seed potatoes. But hey, let's see how this goes. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and we knew this from the beginning, the potatoes themselves don't take as long as the sweet potatoes down below. So we knew that ideally we should be able to pull this entire vertical garden, the exterior, out and harvest the whole thing at once. That's the easiest way. But since the sweet potatoes aren't ready and we're not going to disturb them, I've got to go in from up above.
Look at that. Everything is completely brown and dead. If we just leave them in here, then any potatoes that formed are going to just rot. Now I can see where my sweet potatoes start, right about here all the way down. But from here up, we've got about a foot of medium in here. And I'll pull this off to the side so you can see there's lots and lots of hay. And while almost everything in here is hay, I did come through and add a little bit of excess potting mix that we had to the top of this as well, in addition to more hay as this was growing.
Now, before I dig these potatoes out, let me take 1 minute and show you how we did the planting for these potatoes.
First, we created a lower layer of potatoes, and you can see one of the nice things about this burlap is it's really easy to dig holes into. And so what we did was we planted the potatoes, some of them laying sideways, because these were old seed potatoes, laying sideways, and we let a couple of inches stick out all the way around. Now you can see what's left of it here in terms of now that they've died back, but this one had actually fully extended out, I would say a good 18 inches, a pretty sturdy stem. And after our potatoes had started growing here in the top, because we also planted some around in the top, we added some more of our mix into here, and then we planted a second layer. So we effectively created multiple layers of potatoes growing in here. Now I think in the future we're going to have the capacity to really pack this up even more. You can see even with the addition of our medium in here, we've still got sinking, I would say, of at least 8 inches, even though this was also the hay from our hay bales that had decomposed the most. You know, if it still looks like hay, it's still got some room to continue decomposing, and that's what this did.
Now, this has definitely been an experiment for us, and we've said from the beginning that these vertical hay gardens are going to probably perform the worst this year, because it's our first year. They're still breaking down, still decomposing. So this one and the two that we have out front may not be the most productive yet, but we think this is going to be a real winner in coming seasons. Now, I'm not going to delay anymore. Let's go ahead and see what kind of potatoes grew in our vertical garden.
All right, the first thing I see here is I'm going to have to be really careful. One of our sweet potatoes made its way up. Let's see if we can look at it from outside here. It grew its way up to the potato tier, so I don't want to disturb that too much, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these out. I doubt there'll be much of anything attached to this, but I want to get these dead greens out of the way. They'll probably have anything that would have been attached pop off. Yeah, just like so. So I'm going to get all these out of here, and then we'll clear out this top layer.
All right, so one potential challenge with this growing method is this is a 4-foot tall DIY garden, and the access point to this, unless you're going to lift the whole thing up and harvest it at once, is from the top. Now I'm 6 feet 2 inches tall, and I'm going to have to stand on a step stool, so that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you can lower it a little bit if you want to try, but that's something to keep in mind depending on how tall you are.
All right, the first thing I'm going to do is just brush away the surface here to see, oh, there we go, to see if we see anything. And we have our first potato in here, and I noticed right away, well, let me bring it over here so you can see it maybe in a different lighting. You see that green on top, that's solanine? So even though I covered this with hay, You know, it's sinking all the time. It seems like I probably need to do a little bit better job of covering up this. Here, you can see it right here. This is the potato stem that grew off of, and everything sunk even more. So that layer of hay didn't do enough to protect our potato. Oh, what's this? However, well, this looks like our first potatoes that we're harvesting off of here. This actually looks like the seed potato to me, this bigger potato here. Oh, and one thing you should know is that there's going to be a pretty wide variety of potatoes in here because we just added a whole bunch of whatever we had left in terms of variety. We added them to this garden. So potato size so far, this was the most recent set of potatoes. These are the ones at the top. So again, we're not sure about overall production. There you go. That's our first potato pulled out of this vertical garden. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this sweet potato up against the side here so I can keep it out of the way. All right, that is much better. Now I can actually access everything. So I'm still going to be really gentle. I definitely don't want to go too low in here and run into those sweet potatoes at all. But I'm going to just clear my way through and see what potatoes I run into here. All right, I see a spot here where there are a couple of potatoes going through the side. So let's see if anything produced. Oh, there we go. We got a couple of babies. This looks like our Adirondack blues. You can see the seed potato is really interesting. They didn't spread out very far from the seed potato. So here's the seed potato, and they were kind of attached right to it. So they weren't really spreading out that much. So there's not really a lot of root structure there. Okay, here's one of our Norland reds. Now again, I'm going to say one more time that all the seed potatoes that we used in here, all the seed potatoes that we planted in here were old seed potatoes. So these were not fresh seed potatoes. There we go. You know what we're growing right now? We are growing some beautiful bite-sized, almost like fingerling potatoes out of all of these varieties. So what I'm going to run into here is I'm digging down into that second layer as well. So some of what I'm going to hit, and it's hard to really judge the layers here, but some of what I'm going to hit is going to be the brand new stuff. Oh, there we go. And some of it will be some of the older potatoes. Now, what are you seeing here? I'm seeing that even in these vertical gardens, the voles have found a way to make their way in. So I've got a little bit of vole damage there, but that's a bigger potato than a lot of the other ones, and that's one of the older potatoes in there for sure. Oh, I'm really digging down in here. There we go. That's a Yukon Gold. That is a nice size Yukon Gold. We'll take it. That's down in that second layer. Well, harvesting this is definitely not an easy task right now. Certainly the easiest way to get in here and harvest this would be to have everything ready at the same time and for me to just pull up this cage and go to town pulling everything apart. But for now, I'm going to have to do my best to lean over into it and dig down. Wow, this hay is really broken down a lot. You can see the little pieces of hay in here as well. I know that the voles can make their way through surfaces because we've been dealing with that for a while, but I had hoped that this vertical garden would help a good bit with that and really remove some of that. Oh, that's nice. You know what? They're not massive, or most of them aren't that massive, but they're good looking potatoes. Now, I said this wasn't an easy harvest, but I should probably clarify that what I'm talking about is the ease with which I'm able to get down in here, because it's kind of tall and kind of awkward. But in terms of working through, I mean, you can see, look at this hay breaking down. You can see how easy it is to just stick my hand down in here. That part's not a challenge at all. And I feel, ooh, that's a lovely potato. Absolutely. Oh, I feel another good sized potato right here. Bringing it up. Another one of our Adirondack blues. Those Adirondack blues looking nice. I'm gonna head over to the center real quick. Oh, I feel some potatoes down in here. Whoop. There we go. Another one of our Adirondack blues. All right, Norland red. And there's one of our seed potatoes. I don't mind digging through here one bit. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Again, not knowing what the results were going to look like, knowing that this is a medium that's not tried and true and tested for us, at least in this format. Oh, here we go. I really like what's coming out of here. Those are beautiful. And working my way around in here, digging for this unique treasure. You know what? Let me show you what we've got so far. It's kind of like a whole bunch of gemstones, isn't it? And we've got a little bit of vole damage here. You can see it right there again. But all different colors, all different varieties of potatoes happening here. That's a really nice start. All right, I am probably about 10 or 12 inches down. I'm definitely down to those older potatoes. And there we go. Yes, sir. That is a Yukon Gold, the size of the palm of my hand. That is excellent. All right, I want to know what you think. What's a way, oh, these Yukon Golds are looking lovely. What's a way we can improve the ease of harvest besides what I've suggested so far? What do you think? I mean, I really, really like this setup. I think it's helpful. It gives us that nice vertical space that we want. Now, in case you're wondering, the diameter of this is 21 inches. So a 21-inch diameter circle, that is 2.4 square feet. So the footprint we've got here is only 2.4 square feet of space. So this does not take up a lot of space for all the things that we can grow in this DIY vertical tower. I really like how this adds to our vertical space, but whoo, yeah, this is not the easiest harvest. Ruth Stout, we asked the question, is this how Ruth Stout would have handled vertical gardening if she had done it? Well, not in terms of harvesting so far, but still ease of growing, the ability to add layer after layer of these potatoes. Absolutely. You know what? I am thoroughly enjoying this harvest. I'm going to reiterate something I said a minute ago. I wasn't sure how well the potatoes would grow in this medium. Let me show you what this medium looks like now. You see this mixture? You see all this hay in here? I wasn't sure how they would grow. They're old seed potatoes. I wasn't sure how well those old seed potatoes would perform. And what we're seeing here, I will absolutely take these results. I've got my step stool here and I'm having to be so careful not to get too close because I don't want to destroy any of our sweet potato vines here. There's another one. Well, I thought I was at the end of this, but there we go. There's another Adirondack blue right there. Tell me that this doesn't look like it is going to be fantastic. This is going to keep breaking down over the winter. This is going to be awesome next season. I mean, if we're already getting these results year one, oh, look at this. Look at that. We've got worms in here helping us out. If we're already getting these results year one, year two's got to be fantastic, right? All right, Team Potato, tell me what you think. You like this? You like this style? Here you go, another Norland red. Every time I'm about to stop harvesting, I find more. This is just fantastic. I'm gonna say it. I will be growing. Oh, what's this? We will be growing in this vertical setup again. 100%. All right, getting down to this lower layer, I'm starting to pull this mixture back. It's getting a little harder to get. Oh, there we go. Harder to get down here, but I'm trying to clear everything back as low as possible. I think I'm right at that edge with our sweet potato plants, and that's just not an area I'm going to disturb. But I think that low point, now that I know where it is, I can just go the whole way around and try to get to that point, making sure that I didn't miss anything. So I think it's going to be really easy to miss a potato in here. I think that our Yukon Golds performed really nicely in this, maybe better than any of the other varieties. And the Yukon Golds are an early season variety anyway, so they don't need as long to grow. And these have only been in here for about 85 days. And the top layer was only in there for about 70 days. All right, my digging is done. let's see the fruits of our labor. For a first time growing in this method, I'm gonna say this is some pretty nice production. You know, our confidence in growing in hay just continues to increase year over year. Every time we try something new with it, we're enjoying it. Again, we did add some other medium from some of our containers in this just as we were going along for basically the hilling process, but then we added more hay on top of that. So we're loving what we're seeing, and I'm really hopeful then that the sweet potatoes underneath here in a couple weeks when we're ready to harvest those, that they perform really well. Well, folks, I am content. I think next year's potatoes are gonna be even better. I think we're gonna get even more production. Remember, when we started our Ruth Stout garden, the first year, our production was okay. The second year, we had about 53 pounds of potatoes in 25 square feet. So I think what we can do with this DIY vertical tower, well, really, the sky's the limits. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.